So I want to talk about the idea, the topic of MAGA being upset, MAGA revolting over Trump's involvement with this war between Iran and Israel, between Trump being a co-starter, co-belligerent in starting this war between Israel and Iran and the United States. There's been a lot of stories about MAGA influencers coming out against this, MAGA revolting against this, standing up to Trump, that sort of thing. I want to ask people to go back a few years during Trump's first term when the United States launched airstrikes against Syria. Now, at that time, a number of MAGA influencers of that time came out saying things like Trump has betrayed us, this is terrible, all kinds of things. I remember Alex Jones talking about that. Others too. There was this idea that Trump had betrayed his values, betrayed his base, and was doing the work of the neocons and of the deep state. And of course, those attacks on Syria continued. There were airstrikes, missile strikes, and all the way to boots on the ground, occupying the eastern part of Syria. And it stayed that way, and Trump even declared, said, well, I'm sending troops, we're going to seize the oil fields, and that's what they did. And it wasn't long before any kind of opposition from Trump's base, it quieted down, and they went right back to supporting him, and they went right back to even coming up with justifications for why it was good that the U.S. got involved in Syria and attacked the Syrian military and sent troops into Syria. Same thing happened with military actions against Iran. They killed a top Iranian general and his Iraqi counterpart. An attack on the nation of Iraq, killing Iraqi and Iranian officials. That was an act of war, and yet Donald Trump's base got over that. They started justifying it, explaining why it had to be done. I remember this. I remember talking to people who would have certainly been against that kind of thing, but because Donald Trump did it, they found reasons to support it. They found reasons to explain to me why Trump had to attack Syria and why he had to attack Iran. So here we are again, and I don't think Trump's base is going to be leading any kind of anti-war movement. They haven't done it so far. They haven't done it over Gaza. It hasn't been happening over Iran. There may have been some voices of dissent, but they're quickly getting back into line. I think an important thing to look at is how do they see treating people? What are their values on treating people? And if you look at how they see it when it comes to this country, Trump's base by and large is in favor of mass deportation. So if you support hurting little people, hurting people who are vulnerable, who need help, if you support hurting them, if that's in your values, and how genuinely anti-war can you be? I think you have to have a philosophy, an understanding, a religion of loving others and doing good for others, regardless of who they are, regardless of where they're from, regardless of what kind of people they are. If you can't do that, you're not going to be genuinely anti-war. You might be anti-war in as much as saying we don't like war because it's expensive, we don't like war because some of our people might get hurt, but you're not going to be against hurting people on principle. If you are, then great. I don't see that very much so within the MAGA movement, at least as far as it is politically influential. Within individuals, oh, absolutely. There are so many good Christian Americans who are loving, and they show it. Even if they may vote for Republicans, they may vote for Donald Trump, they are good Christians, and they pass the test, as Jesus puts it out. What it's going to be like on the judgment day when he judges people on how they treated others. There are a lot of good Christian Americans who pass that test, who are good to people regardless of who they are. But on the whole, and in as much as it has political influence, those kinds of morals just aren't present at the scale that is needed to make any kind of movement. Any kind of anti-war protests we've seen have been from the left. Any kind of protests or attempts to change the political situation as it involves illegal immigrants and stopping mass deportations, that has come from the left. It has not been coming from MAGA, and I don't expect it to come from MAGA. But Lord willing, this country will continue to, this country will start to turn to the Lord, start to get back on, start to get on the right track. I'm saying get back on, but it's not like we have a history of being people who obey the commandments of Jesus, but we could, and I think we will get there by the grace of God. The kingdom of heaven, once it's started growing, it's going to keep on growing. It grows and grows and grows, one heart at a time, one soul at a time, until it just it's everywhere. Until it's everywhere, and there's a lot of seed sown. It's growing in a lot of corners, and it's going to keep on going that way. Well, thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think. Leave your comments below, and I'll talk to you again later. Bye for now.